Greetings lines lovers. So today I'm carrying on fireplace making for the number 31. I'm also making another 4 for Rebecca Rockley, who's helped me with a few things, and so I promised I'd do some fireplaces for number 17. So all the main pieces are cut out, so I'm now starting to glue them together. So having now got all the wallpapers that I require made for this number 31, and the fireplace is basically made, it's now time to start wallpapering the interior. So we're going to start that now, and let's see how it goes. So the inside of the front door is now papered, and also I've hinged the door for the first time since I started the project, so that's all up and running now. And the next move will be the chimneys and the floor paper after I've got it made tomorrow. So all that's ready to go. So we'll have floor paper, then it'll be trimmed chimneys. Put in the floor paper, which is parquet, down in the 31. So we're going to start measuring and gluing that now, and look forward to seeing what the results are. Hopefully it will bring a little bit of colour back into the whole thing and gel all the contrasts together. So stay tuned. So having done all the parquet floor this morning, I'm now doing the chimney breast, the black parts that are in the middle of the chimney fireplaces, and the blinds, which I got printed yesterday, care of our good friend Michael Morse, who sent me the file across some months ago, and just putting the leather onto the fireplace. So I'm going to stick the fireplaces and the blinds on now. Well, here we are. That's basically all of the inside of the doll's house finished as far as I'm concerned. Could do with some thermometer guards for the fireplaces, but they don't turn up every day. All blinds, and I've done the insides of the blinds this time as well. So yeah, I'm quite happy with that, to be fair. All the colours contrast like I was hoping that they would. There's the blinds on the outside. So now all the chimneys to do. So as I said, the last little bit to do on the 31 is the chimneys. Now I've got one pattern, which is this one, so I broke it all down into its component parts. So I've made 4 new ones, so I've got 2 spares, or 2 to do another house. And then you'll see here the chimney pots, and what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to cast them out of resin. So that's the chimneys done in the main and fixed where they will have to go. So just painting and the casting of some new chimney pots left to do now, and this house I think will be finished. Today what I intend to do is try to reproduce one of the chimney pots, and these chimney pots are going to be fitted onto the rest of the chimneys for the DH31 that I made yesterday, and I'm going to show you right through the process and we'll see how it goes. So you'll see that I've been into the collection and selected one of the chimney pots that's very complete. Now these chimney pots were used on a multitude of models between the 1900 period up until the 1920s, and they're all identical generally. There are variations. This is the one I had yesterday and it's too knocked about. So the part that you really must get right with this before you do anything else is you must get the rubber mould made properly before you can expect to do anything else. So the rubber mould solution, the silicone rubber mould solution, It's in a 2-pack thing and it's 50% each on the mix. Now you don't really want to waste that, to be honest with you. Now there's 2 component parts to making a resin basically copy of this. You need to make an actual mould, which I'll open this shortly and you'll see what that consists of, and then you get a 2-part resin which you mix together, each one actually 100% mix, which makes it quite easy, and that will produce the solution. Now in my previous hobby as a vintage radio collector restorer, very often the radios would come without the actual knobs, particularly the tuning knob. So as you can see here, this is a mould I made to make those knobs, and once I'd cast the knobs and actually painted them the right colour, in fact they were virtually the right colour in ivory, it was absolutely impossible to tell from the real thing. So what I did in that instance was I got a spray can top, and you need to be able to get the mould out of it basically. So you know, I moulded it into that so as I could then destroy the outer. It made no difference so as it left the silicone mould, because obviously you've got to be able to get the finished item out of the mould. Back in the 1990s, a very good friend of mine and I actually cast a complete round radio cabinet, which was quite large, about 1 foot in diameter, and we did it in colour to look like marble. And to get the inside mould and the outside mould to come together at the right thickness took quite a lot of skill, I can assure you. So to do this is hardly a problem really. So with this, the item is actually not that large, so I've selected a smaller spray can top. You know, I like to use things that are hanging about the workshop. You know, there's no need to go out and buy fancy containers and whatever it is, they only do the same job. So we will need to suspend this from the top element of the chimney pot, which will be the dowel that actually allows it to fit into the rest. Now to get an exact reproduction, basically we need the solution, the rubber solution, to come up to the top part there, because that's what will give us the finished article. Now it doesn't matter if that's a little taller than it needed to be, because obviously you can then either cut it or file it back down till you get to the finished article. So whatever you have here should come out as the exact reproduction, which is what we want. So the approach I'm going for now is where that little dot is, because obviously this was turned on a lathe or whatever originally. I'm going to put a drill down there, fine drill into the middle, so as I've got a fixing point which allow me then with a stick across the top to let that float in mid-air, so as it lets the pour go all around the bottom of the chimney pot. And that's all important, because without doing that you'll lose the definition. Now I could have used this one, but I'd have had to have repaired all of the top rim, and to be honest with you, that's so time consuming, and at the end of the day I'm making some, so it's pointless really doing that when I was able to find one that is in very good condition. Now obviously it's painted in terracotta paint, which you'd expect for a chimney pot, but I'm going to have to sand that down so as where it's been glued. Now you can see here what you get as part of the actual silicone moulding kit. So you get the A and the B part of the solution, which is mixed together in 50-50 solution, a pair of gloves because you don't really want the stuff on your hands, a user manual, 2 of lollipop sticks and 2 mixing utensils, and I'm actually going to use one of those as to pour into. I think it's perfect. So you can quite clearly see that the chimney pot is suspended now in mid-air, and that will be the whole of the pour will go all around that right to the very top, and it should completely encompass the actual chimney pot. And obviously you need to keep it straight and still, particularly once the stuff's still molten. So we're nearly ready for a pour. So see here, I've already put the A solution, which is in this bottle, in, and I filled it to halfway. Now this is a 50-50 mix, so as long as now I put the B solution in and fill it to the top, we'll have a little bit more than we need to do the job. But having said that, you don't want to really not have enough. You can actually pour more on top of it, but it's not ideal. You need to get it in one hit, really. Like everything in life, you've really got to get in and have a go. You know, you've got the manual there to refer to if you need to. Obviously I've had fair amounts of experience with a lot bigger items, so to me it's just pure logic, and I just use what is lying around me. Think about what the outcome's going to be before you even start. Look, I've just codged it together with a cocktail stick and tape. So fingers crossed, when we come back to it tomorrow, if it's set, we can then unravel it all, and fingers crossed what we'll be left with is a rubber mould that I can remove out of this container, because you need to do that. I mean, we might need to wreck the container, but that's neither here or there. It's only a piece of plastic, and then we should be able to open the mould up and remove the original item out of it. So you can see here, if we can see close up, that the solution is filled right to the top, and you can see it down the side of the container, and you can see the chimney pot actually suspended inside, surrounded by the silicone mould. This normally takes a good 24 hours to go off, so hopefully tomorrow morning we should be able to unpack it. Good morning, Dollhouse lovers. So you will see now that I'm now starting to extract the mould out of the container that I originally moulded this in for the chimney pot. So what I've done, I've Dremelled off the container, because you know it's only worth pennies. It makes no difference as long as I end up with the end product. I'll do something else to mix others. So we've now got to try and extract the original chimney. So part B of the chimney making pots exercise, I've removed the one from the first mould I made, and I've put a pour in of the resin, which again is a 50-50 mix, and then poured straight into the mould, so that's curing at the moment. I also made a second mould just in case that one didn't work. So I'm going to start breaking this down today. I want this to be a full restoration. There'll be no stone unturned. You can see that it is quite complete, although painted over, as very often they are. It's got the sun house, it's got the chimney, so everything's basically here. The top door, which is not on at the moment, is here. This is the big one. This is the one that started me off in Dollhouse collecting short of 2 years ago, just short of 2 years ago. It's an ultra modern 53. It's my favourite of all the Triang houses. You have to see one and carry one to know how big they are. I mean, it's not as big as some, but there's the measurement, 42 inches wide. As you can see, mostly everything is here, so you can see that it's going to be a lovely, and you can see here where the ultra modern 53 is concerned, I've now took the first coat of paint off, and what it's revealed is a coat of blue, which I expected, under which there is a coat of kind of mustardy coloured paint, which I think is a base coat, I'm not sure, and underneath that is cream. So we've yet to decide whether it should be cream or powder blue. So on the main house here, exactly the same thing. I've stripped the top to a degree. The balustrading is the same, that is powder blue over mustard colour over cream, but then the middle was just cream, with the do-it-yourself coat on the top of that. Now I'll also have to do something with the crazy paving. So you can see clearly the do-it-yourself coat that was on top of the powder blue, which is on top of a kind of mustardy colour, which is on top of cream. As I say, I need to do something with the crazy paving. I can't make my mind up at the moment whether that's original, because I've seen others similar, or whether it's been overdone. There's some green coming through as well. So I'm now going to leave that overnight and see if the first lot of poured mixture actually has set, and then also by then we should be able to remove the other chimney from the other mould I've made. So there you have it. There's the one on the left, which is one of the resin ones, straight at the mould at the moment. Obviously there's a little tiny bit of fettling to do around where the dowel would be, where it fits in the other bit, but that's fine. So what I'm going to do now, I've took the other one out, the other mould, which has come out a little bit better because obviously second attempt, and I'm going to make two more pours now, to make two more.
Wow, what an incredible update on that DH31. It's really, really looking beautiful. I can't wait to see what it looks like once you finish pouring all of the chimney pots and have painted them and installed them on the roof. And that's it for that one. The DH31 will then be finished. And wow, that Triang Ultra Modern 53 is something to behold. Thank you so much for sharing all of this with us, Kevin. So nice to hear from the other side of the pond. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please consider subscribing. It's free to do so. And hit that notification bell, and then that way you'll know every time we upload a new video. And once again, everyone, I love it when you hit that like button, because it really does help the algorithm of my channel. And we're at 3,000 subscribers, which is amazing. So tell your friends. And once again, everyone, have the best day ever.